It's the Dynasty Show. We're back. Live. Hammer in the building. Dynasty
What up,
Light.
man?
What up?
Not a damn thing. I just came back from seeing John Wick, so I'm fired up. I want to roast somebody right
Oh,
now.
there you go.
Yeah,
There you go. I guess we got two roster reviews to do tonight. What's some of the latest? What's some of the latest news? Oh, the Vikings were not willing to extend Kirk Cousins. He said he would take less money.
I mean, he's
Heard
getting a
that?
little bit older. I feel like they've reached their ceiling potentially with him. So you know, we'll see what they want to do. It's been relatively quiet over the last couple of days, to be honest.
Yeah.
The Jets picked up Mecole Hardman.
Yeah.
Eh,
I mean, I, I would rather
eh.
have Elijah Moore, but I don't
Yeah,
know
I would agree. Uh,
why they did that. I
Zeke.
didn't love that move, but they moved up in the draft. Apparently, I think they got into the second round. They moved like from a third to a second, like that.
Yeah, Zeke Elliott is narrowing down his choices apparently to the Eagles, the Jets. Of
Yeah,
course, everybody wants to join the Jets now,
that's
and the
his
Bengals.
choice, but that's his choices. That's not the Bengals' choice or the
Yeah,
Bills'
no,
choice.
I
Or
I
that's
agree. I'm
just his choices. Those teams don't want him.
that we know
So,
of. I mean,
would they go out and get him? I mean, maybe, but
would you if you were one of those teams?
not really. I mean, what is he going to bring? I don't know. Not for the
Go.
price that I mean, I don't know if
It
you could
depends on the
relatively
price,
sign him for
obviously,
cheap. I
right?
mean, if the longer he's not signed, the cheaper the price is going to get. Probably. Most likely they'll wait until after the draft to see who they can draft or who falls to
I,
them or
I
who
would
teams can
tend,
get maybe
yeah, I would tend
before
to
they
agree
pick
with
him up.
that.
You know,
I would agree
so
with that.
I'd probably say that we won't really know what's a good spot until after the draft. See,
Mm-hmm.
where some of these guys are going. Yeah. Oh, Broncos. What's his name? Coach Payton came out and said, "Yeah, we're not trading Jerry Judy, or so they're not trying to trade their receivers. Apparently,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you can
I
kind
would
of,
be okay with trading Sutton, but I wouldn't. I guess it wouldn't really make sense to give up Judy, right?
you would think not because he's so young, and you would think that him and Russell can at least hopefully find a connection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully Russ is better this year. I mean, I know we talked about it a bunch. Can't really get much worse, right?
You would think not. Judy's got to stay healthy though.
It does. It does.
You know, kind of always seems like he's finding his way to missing at least 3 to 4 games a year, which you want to see that consistency. But he got better as the late in the year, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's looking up. I mean, they got the coach too, so now you got Sean Payton there, and he's obviously a good coach. Most likely will get the ball into his playmakers' hands.
Yeah, you would hope.
I would hope. I have Judy in a couple leagues. I think I have him in 2 leagues, and like I like him, but I don't know if he'll ever be like a real like fantasy wide receiver one. I think he's got the upside to be, but he's like realistically, I guess you can say at mid. You'd be happy with a mid to high wide receiver, high end wide receiver too.
That has to be
Um,
the expectations right now until he proves otherwise.
yeah, I mean, I'm willing to come off of him. I'm willing to tear up. Like he's one of those guys that you can use
In a
that you can use to
package.
tear up. So DJ Moore, same kind of thing. If you want to tear up, you can try and come off of him and add something else to it.
He's definitely still got good value because he's so young. So,
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix up this other roster review real quick. Make sure I got everything in here right. Kenny Pickett, Tomlin came out and said he's excited for Kenny Pickett. He thinks he's future QB.
I mean, he kind of has to say that, doesn't he?
I
Put a
mean,
prop up his quarterback. What else is he gonna say? Nah, this guy's pretty average.
yeah, I mean, I was never really the Kenny Pickett fan. I mean, I kind of talk shit about him all the time on here, but
Well, the one thing I always say about
he is a
Pittsburgh
starting.
is the one thing I always say about Pittsburgh is they're a well-run organization from top to bottom. Like you know who's in
Mm-hmm.
charge. There's very little egos there. Once they shipped Antonio Brown out of there, when he was starting to get a little kooky. Um, so they're a well-run organization. They'll always be competitive, but remains to be seen. He's a young guy. They got some good talent on that team, so we'll see if it blossoms.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you bring up just the organization they're in, and then the defense on top of that. So, they don't need and I think Tomlin, he hasn't had a losing season in however long. Did they have a losing season last year?
I think they were like
Like
eight and
five
nine, I
hundred
believe. Yeah,
or
or
one under
there's
or
no more
something like that.
500 anymore because
Oh, that's
there's
right. That's
they
right.
play
That's right.
17 games.
So
Let me
yeah, I don't
check.
think they need him to be. I don't think they need him to be
Oh no, they were 9 and
anything
8.
special.
How about
Well, there
that?
you go. See, boom. I don't think they need him to be anything special. They just need him to be
Solid.
decent and not turn the ball over. They can rely on the defense. They
Kind of
got
like what kind of like what
Jimmy.
Big Ben was when he first came in, and they won a
Yeah,
Super Bowl that way.
yeah,
He
yeah.
wasn't great, like he
They
wasn't a
didn't have,
prolific thrower of the football.
Kevin, what up, Kev? Deontay is a buy low. I I love Deontay Johnson. He's still, being hyper targeted. Um, the big problem was he just didn't score touchdowns.
Touchdowns
But I think I talked about it on one of the shows. He was wide receiver like 30. What was he? Wide
with
receiver 30 with
with
no
no
touchdowns.
touchdown. Yeah.
PPR. So I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, it can't regress, right? It only could be positive regression at this point. So,
Yep.
I do love, a Deontay Johnson, but he's going to be what, 27?
I believe
He's got a few more, good years left. We just got to hope that Kenny Pickett can take that next
develops.
step. That's really, what it comes down to. But yeah, he's definitely a good buy low or, a draft late in drafts, because he's falling really far. So, you know, he's falling really
Yeah,
far.
think about it. The point you bring up is it just illuminates how good he is because his yard per catch very solid. Yards per target were a little bit down, but he scored 8, 7, and 5 touchdowns the previous 3 years. 0 this year,
Yeah.
and he was still PPR 30, 147 targets. So
I mean, he's still an elite separator. I mean, he's getting separation. He's open. They just Pickett has to take that next step. Panthers signed DJ Shark as well. As
meh.
Adam Thielen. I think they're trying to get a little something, but Adam Thielen is fucking old as dirt now. I mean, that's my guy, but what, 33 now, and he hasn't really been that good the last couple of years.
No, he's
He's
a
been
he's a
injured.
red zone. He's a red zone target, pretty much touchdown dependent flex at the absolute best.
Went to like the Bills or something. That would have been like a better spot.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know, would have been a better spot. Al Galore went to the Ravens. I don't think any of us really care about that, but fantasy wise,
No, definitely not. Although I may go pick him up. Who knows?
oh man. All right. Let me see if I could pull up these. We'll do Jay's first because I got that one to pull up. And I think I'm all set with the other one too. So one QB, start 8. So a shallower league and only one QB. So this one is we do all different formats. So whatever it is, one QB, super flex. We've done what, two QBs. We've done start 9, start 10, start 11s. We kind of do it all. But yeah, he sent us his team here, and it looks like a solid team, kind of right off the bat. QBs. We got Herbert and T Law. RBs, we've got Brees, Kenny Walker, Penny, Pacheco, Michael Carter, Madison, Rashard White. Our receiver, we got JJ Waddle and AJ Brown to go along with Pittman, Burks, Hodgins, and Bateman. I like Hodgins and Bateman as little, cheaper guys that you can get. Tight ends, we got my boy Big Cock Hawk. We got Juwan Johnson and Jazeki. I don't love where Jazeki went. I don't like that he went to the Patriots. I think that was just a bad move for him. What do you think about Jazeki, real quick?
I mean, I think Mac Jones does target his tight ends. Is Hunter Henry still there?
Yeah, yeah.
So, he already has a rapport with Hunter Henry. Gesicki, I like him as a talent, but the production never really, measured up to what I believe the talent was. And considering how prolific the Miami offense was last year, for him to be relatively pedestrian, it can't get any better going to the Patriots, you would imagine. So
Mm.
it's kind of my take on him.
Kevin said, "What kind of Bijan 1.1 trades have you seen? What would you want if selling?" I think I don't want to say it's calmed down, but I think that lately people are not willing to give up as much as they would have before. Now for the 101, people are starting to realize, like, shit, I got to give up, a ton to get the 101. And at that point, you're like, fuck it, I'm out. Like, I'll just try and get somebody else. So it's rough. I haven't seen any. Well, actually, did I have a 101 trade? Hold on. There was a 101 trade. Hammer, what do you think about this? While I look up this trade, there was one trade that was for the 101. I'll look it up and see if I can find it in one of my leagues.
What do I think about this question?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen that many. I'm only in one dynasty league. So I haven't seen any, to be honest with you. If I was selling it, I would ask for the moon and the stars and see, you know, see
One,
what
you
see
better
what
step your game up, Hammer.
see what
Uh,
happened.
I said one, you better step your game up, Hammer.
I'm not crazy
All right.
going into a million leagues. I'm not crazy about
I
that.
have
2 to 3
6 now.
leagues is good.
I got 6 or 7. 7. All right. There was a trade for the 101 in this one league, Superflex League, start 10. The 101, it's actually a big one that you probably don't like, Hammer. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen because it's a big one. It'd be easier if we could actually see it. Hold on. Put my other teams on this one too. All right. It's the 101, Chris Olave, Okonkwo, and the 206 for Tannenhill, Goddard, Kate Otten, Nick Chubb, Devonta Smith, and Aaron Rodgers, and the 301.
That's a bunch of mediocre parts outside of the Chubb, but even still, the Chubb's getting a little bit older, etc. Obviously, like you said, it'd be easier if I saw it
All right.
to try and evaluate it.
Damn, it's so big that it doesn't even.
That's what she said.
Is there more to it? Oh, that's why, because it's that. I got you. Hold on. I'll just do it this way. Take a snapshot. myself. Boom. Yeah, this is a trade that you'd like absolutely hate. Definitely a trade you'll hate. All right. 101, 206, Okonkwo and Olave for Aaron Rodgers, Tannenhill, Chubb, Go Dirt, Devonta, Kate Odden, and the 301.
No, I'm keeping Olave in the 101.
So yeah, I guess I would say the 301. I guess just throw that out the window. Let's just say
Right.
that's
K.
let's
Dotton,
say that's
throw out.
irrelevant. We're trading away Olave. You can say, okay, we're getting Devonta and it is tight end
Goddard.
premium. So okay,
Goddard.
Devonta and Goddard for Olave. I guess you can say Okonkwo and Auden. They're kind of like in the same boat for me. And then it's basically the 101 for like Rogers, Tannenhill, 301.
Chubb.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I think I'd rather have
No,
Olave
no. Olave in the 101.
in
That's
the
it. Thank you.
101.
I'm not doing that.
But yeah, anyway, that's a trade that I had.
I want no part of
Not
that.
my trade.
No, I'm good.
Let's get back to this real quick. Let's see squad. We got White and Pickett. We've got the 102, the 104, the 106, the 108, and the 308. We've got 2024, our first and our third. What do you think about this team off the bat, Hammer? One QB starting 8. So
I mean, it's pretty stacked all the way around. I mean, there's
yeah,
not much. There's not much to move on. You got young pieces at pretty much every position. He's got young studs, right? That's what we talk about all the time. Now, considering it's a start 8, I'm pretty sure there's studs on other teams, but it is 12 team, only one quarterback. So you got the guy, and then the draft capital to go along with it is just amazing. So a well constructed team overall, all the way around at every position.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, some of those studs, some of those core players. Who we talking about, Hammer?
I could roll off 5 guys already on this team. Obviously, Herbert. T Law probably a little more expendable, but I may hold on to him depending on whatever, especially in a one quarterback league. So you got Herbert, you got JJ, you got Waddle. AJ Brown maybe could be expendable for me, but obviously he's one of those guys I put, in the tiers on the tier show in tier 1. So those 3, and then with your running backs, we tend to devalue the running back a little bit, but he's got 2 guys that are absolute studs in Brees Hall and Kenneth Walker, so they're worth mentioning, obviously. And then
Yeah,
Pacheco, having Pacheco is not bad on this roster either, considering how good he looked in Kansas City. So that's another piece that you could potentially move that has some value right now. What it has going into the season, considering if they draft somebody or they pick somebody up, who knows? But
yeah,
yeah, so I would say really it's those 3 top receivers, Herbert, and then Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker. You could throw in there as well.
yeah, and especially this format since it's only start 8. The running backs they're more important in this kind of format, right? Every format is a little bit different as far as what you need to, go after to get the advantage. And in this format, the running backs are going to be an advantage. You only got 3. Oh damn! I put 2 flexes. I think is there 2 flexes in this? Yeah, there is. But anyway, the running backs are more valuable in this kind of format where you're only starting like 8 guys, in total. So you 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs. You got 2 flexes in there. and then tight end. Like we're perfect at T.J. Hawkinson. I think you're awesome there. So I would kind of throw him
Mm-hmm.
in there too, where like you're safe, you're good there. J.J. Waddle and A.J. Brown, like we're not touching those guys. I wouldn't even come off of Brees and Kenny Walker just in this situation, really.
I think this is one of the few, and then the draft capital on top of it. Like
You
you look at
got
the team is loaded, and the draft capital is loaded as well. So it's
mhm.
like I don't want to call it a perfect team
I,
because no team is perfect, but this is as close to perfect as you're going to get in terms of having young studs at every position. TJ Hawkinson a little bit older, but still really solid there. And then the draft capital on top of it is just like you could pretty much do whatever you wanted to do, or you could just dominate the league for the next 5 years.
so what's the? I guess what some of the team needs? Are there any team needs
I
when
don't.
you look at it?
I think this is the first time I'm going to say it. I don't see any glaring team needs unless you go get Jamar Chase. I don't know, which is possible with this team.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, even with the draft cat, oh, there he is. There's Diesel. There he is. That's Jay. But yeah,
I mean, did nobody else in this
I would.
did did anybody else in this league decide they wanted the AARP team? Because you got every young stud at every position.
Yeah, I would say this. Like, I know you said I can't go back to the email. I think he said you're not getting Bijan because the guy at 101 is going to take Bijan. I mean, I would argue that since you have the assets, can you can you go
Move
get
up.
Bijan? Can you give up the 102 and the 106?
Yeah.
I'd give up two of those, three of those picks if I had to, like because you don't really need anything. Like you're okay to go and spend, and like
Oh
you're
my
still
God.
gonna contend for a long
I just
time.
saw him in the trade. Pull the trade up. He just made a trade.
Oh God, I did make a trade. I was gonna ask you if you had any updates. I traded Pacheco
Oh
and
my
24
God.
first and the 106 for Sun God. Okay, perfect. Fucking awesome. That's the one thing I was gonna say. If there's a way to go and get another to get another wide receiver or to move up in the draft and go grab Bijan, but that's perfect. So you gave
So
up
you're
the
good now.
106, gave up the 2024 first, which is fine.
And
Because
Pacheco,
of the makeup of your team, you got rid of
which is
Pacheco,
perfect.
and now you got Sun God. So now you got J.J. Waddle, A.J. Brown, and Sun God.
Those are your
And
two
this
wide
is
receivers and
exactly
your
how
two
we
flexes.
try and design our teams is take advantage of the flexes, throw the wide receivers in there, and then you still got Brees Hall and then Kenny Walker at running backs. All right, let's take off the 106. So we still got the 102 and the 104. Like, do you have a
That's
plan
crazy.
of what you want to do at the 102 and the 104? Do you go with JSN at the 102 or do you go with or I don't know if you like Quentin Johnson better or Addison, or do you go Gibbs and then let whatever that person takes at 103, you take whoever's left. If it's JSN, is it Quentin Johnston? Like, do you do that? Do you go down that route, or do you just go out and buy another stud running back? I mean, can you go buy ETN for the 102 and the 104, and then yeah, I want to grab JSN at 102 and try and grab Gibbs at 104. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a tough spot too in a couple leagues where it's like, who do you take? And I prefer to grab JSN, but in this situation where you're pretty much set at wide receiver, and the running backs are going to be important. Don't forget, Brees Hall, you know, may or may not be his usual self this first season coming back from the injury. So, do you just grab Gibbs at 102 and then hope that JSN lasts to the 104? Do you just take Quentin Johnston there, or can you move up from the 104? Right, you still got the 108. I mean, can you move up and guarantee both of them? I think I wouldn't even be opposed to doing that.
I'm curious too, really quick on how long he's been in this dynasty league and how like what are his finishes? How did he finish last year, maybe the year before that, to try and get an idea of like what the competition's like. I mean, obviously this team is loaded, so but I'm
This
just
one,
curious
we got
about
four of the fucking top five, top
I'm
six
just
dynasty wide
but
receivers on
crazy.
the team now,
Yep, but
and
that
we've got
doesn't
two of the
guarantee
top
anything.
three, running backs.
Yeah, that doesn't always
We've
guarantee you're
got
gonna win. So I'm just curious on, you know,
coming off injuries, man. Should I move pick 104 and 108 for 103. Yeah, I mean, you have the assets too. Like, I don't mind doing it because you're not gonna need anything even next
No,
season. So I mean, the picks like it won't matter. Like
it's just leverage for you to
so
move up.
it's just leverage for you to move up and get the guys that you want. Now, the wide receivers are always going to be more valuable, in my eyes, especially. But the running backs are going to be important in this league too, just because it is the start eight, and you're not pressed to go get a wide receiver because obviously you're going to be set
And he
at
just
that
traded
position.
for a fucking Amon Ra,
Um,
which is insane.
so yeah, so JSN is going to be on your bench essentially, and Gibbs is going to be on your bench essentially, which is awesome. So I don't mind giving up the 104 and the 108 to grab the 103, and now you lock in both of the two guys that you wanted, and those guys going to be on your bench. So I think that puts you in an awesome position because whether injuries happen, bye weeks or whatever happens, you're still have
Loaded.
elite
Yeah.
players at the position.
Yeah.
So second year dynasty team had a bunch of guys aiming to win now, took advantage, sold the older players for the picks they didn't value, and made the playoffs last year. Yep, there you go.
So now you set yourself up to just
There
roll
you
for the
go. Yeah,
next
don't forget Brees
3 to
got
5
hurt.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah. Herbert wasn't that great last year.
no. Yeah, so that I would love to do that if you could. If you could lock up both of them, or like I said, take the chance and wait, take Gibbs first, and then just take either JSN or Quentin Johnston at the next one. But I'd rather JSN, and you got the assets to do it, so go do it. You know, go do it. I don't mind spending up if you need to, if it's going to make your team, better for the long run, and you don't really need those picks. Like, for the next couple years, you don't really need anything really.
No, just go out and hit
Pretty
those
good.
home runs now.
Luke Hammer, what up? He said, "Is Addison the move at the 109?" Yeah, at the 109. I mean, that's great value to get Addison at the 109. So I don't mind that at all. But I'm open to trading that pick as well. Yeah, I'm saying yes, trade the 104 and the 108 for the 103 if you want to guarantee the two guys that you get. Now, it may seem like it is a lot to give up, which it
But
is, but don't
you're
forget
already stacked.
it is a 1 QB, so the 108 is not like crazy valuable. And then you're already stacked on top of that. So what you're doing is just building the value on your team and you're stacking up for, for years to come. And like it doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter what happens. I mean, you can have an RB go down, you can have two RBs go down and still be good. You can have a wide receiver go down and still be good. And you have assets that you can still move if you need to ever get anything else. But yeah, I mean you're set. Would you do it? Are you saying to do the 104 and the 108 for the 103 also? Are you with me on that?
Yeah, I don't see why not because, like you said, you're not pressed for a specific need. So go out and just go, like I said, swing for the fences now, hit those home runs now, set yourself up. And then listen, you have the value later if you need it. So why not do that? Because, like you said, with the 104, okay, the 104 is still valuable, but the 108, you know, in a one quarterback league, what's that really going
And
to
a
be?
start eight on top of it,
So, right.
you know?
So at this point, if you could leverage that 104 and 108, why not go to the 103? That just kind of made that's kind of a no brainer.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'd want to move. I think you're perfect with TJ Hawkinson. Like I said, I think you're perfect at QB. There's not much to really worth it to tear up there. You got Sun God, like I said, you got four of the top 5, 6, arguably dynasty
What
wide receivers on the
what
team.
more right? What more
I
can
love
you
the
ask
backup
for?
you've got with Burks. I like the upside with Bateman. Can you trade, Bateman and Burks or some kind of combination and grab another running back? Maybe. I mean,
Chase Edmonds
because if you do have
type,
JSN, he's on your bench anyway, so you've got a little bit of bench help. Huh?
like a Chase Edmonds type.
what? Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds. I don't even think he's on a team right now.
Yeah, he re-signed. He's re-signed him with the Dolphins.
Did he?
I believe so. They signed Jeff
No.
Wilson.
No, they signed Jeff Wilson. They signed Mostert, and I think Ahmed.
Oh, Chase. I
No,
was
Chase
thinking about.
Edmonds.
I was thinking about Mostert. My bad. Mostert
He's talking about Mostert to go get Mostert.
or Jeff Wilson, like something like that, to give yourself some added.
Or maybe some cheap guys. I don't know. Maybe if you could give up 308. I mean, you're gonna have to get shit back to go after those guys. But no, I probably wouldn't even do that because you do got Madison who's coming back on the contract. We don't know what's gonna happen with Dalvin Cook if they're gonna draft somebody or not. You've
Your
got at
boy
least
Rashad
Rashad White.
Penny.
You've got guys that you can fill in there. So yeah, I would say you don't really have to go out and get unless you get another stud guy, like I said, like ETN or something. But yeah, I think you're all good there. And then, like we talked about the picks, what guys to target. So yeah, I think that's it. Anything else you want to throw out there about this team, Hammer?
I love it.
Yeah, I love the team. This is a good job drafting, trading, and getting Sun God is going to be sick. But yeah, I'm considering trading Bateman if I make a move. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I like Bateman as a good buy low guy. So whoever's listening out there, if you can draft him later on or buy him for relatively cheap at this point, especially we don't know what's happening with Lamar. Bateman's been hurt, but he's
Hmm.
still a good wide receiver that I still have faith in, and I like that he's just cheap as hell right now. So yeah, yeah, good shit, Jay. Love
Mega
the
shit.
team.
This
Let
team
us know.
is
Let us know what
stacked.
happens. Let us know what happens from there. We've got one more. We've got one more team to do, which is Joey's team. This is another start eight. I think this is another start eight. This is a start eight, but with a super flex and only start eight. So it's even a
That's interesting.
little bit even shallower. So this one is hold on, let me pull it up real quick. There we go. Here's Joey. So 12 team super flex, start eight, one QB, two running back. I forgot to put the super flex in there, but one QB, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, one flex, one super flex. So you can only start a max of three receivers or three running backs, which you don't really see much of nowadays. A lot of people now are in that start 10 or at least start 9 or so. But let's take a look at the team. We've got the 109, the 111, the 202, the 203, the 207, and the 211 draft capital here. So a bunch of seconds and some late first. Two firsts in 2024, three seconds. All right. And all right, let's check out the QBs. Lamar, Gino, Baker, Russell Wilson, Trey Lance, Kyle Trask, and Mike White. Running backs, we got Brees Hall, JT, Gibby, Joshua Kelly, and Khalil Herbert. Wide receivers, we've got DK, CD, Michael Thomas, Callaway, Terrence Marshall, Nico Collins, Bateman, Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney. At tight end, we got Pitts and Ferguson. Following that up in the taxi is going to be David Bell, Knight, Sky Moore, and Okonkwo. What do we got, Hammer? What you think?
It's an okay team. There's definitely some movement that needs to get done here. With some decent value, not crazy top end value. But overall, it's an okay team. There's a lot of uncertainty, especially at the quarterback position for this guy. We don't know where Lamar's going. That jumped out to me right away. And he really only has two wide receivers to speak of. I do like Terrence Marshall, but Kadarius Toney as well, maybe on the back end out there with Patrick Mahomes. Um, but yeah, definitely some upgrades in tow for this particular roster.
Yeah, and only can start, like I said, two wide receivers and one flex only. Devin said get wide receivers on this squad. Yeah, I mean we can only start three, so I like the DK CD. Like I'm okay with that, but
Are you okay with Michael Thomas? No.
no. I think he made a trade. I think he traded for Michael Thomas. Hold on, let's go over some of the trades he made. All right, he gave up Ayuk, Dobbins, and the 206. for CeeDee Lamb, which I love. I love that trade,
Okay.
especially in the start eight. So that's an awesome trade there. CeeDee Lamb giving up Ayuk, Dobbins, and a 206.
Yeah, I'm
And
totally
then
fine
he
with that.
gave up a 2024, I don't know, random second, I guess. We don't know where that's going to land for Michael Thomas. That I didn't love. That I don't love. I don't like that at all. What about you?
I don't I don't love giving up anything for Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Anything.
I mean, I would give up a third probably. I wouldn't give up a second. A third is going to be the highest I'd want to give up for Michael Thomas because that's just a prayer. I mean, you've got even still it's like limited upside. Like there's almost zero chance he finishes as a wide receiver one. Is there?
No,
I
no.
mean,
I thought you were gonna say wide receiver two.
no,
Like,
there's a small chance that that can happen, but that's small. But it's literally almost zero chance I think that he finishes ever as a wide receiver.
yeah. Yeah, I just think with Michael Thomas, I think we get so enamored on what he could be. Now, listen, if he in a basically you're starting three wide receivers,
Oh, here's sports
you
sequence.
can't yeah, it's hard to rely on him. So it's tough, man. I
Upside
don't
upside shot when he was healthy was still averaging 17.5 draft capital to spare. Listen, you're right. He was averaging a good amount, but if you actually like were paying attention to what like how much he was actually playing, like he was barely playing, I think 50% of the snaps at that
and
point.
just he was getting
It was
basically red
only
zone.
basically
Yeah.
in the red zone, and he was winning, these jump balls, which is great. But what's the chances that all of that is just going to continue to happen? And again, he is kind of up there in the age. Is that the ankle's fucked up? I mean, I like the upside, but I don't know. I mean, do people like Michael? Do people value Michael Thomas more than a second round pick? Like, can you use him to trade right now? Can you just use him as a trade piece? Like, I'd love to do that. But in the start eight, he's almost he's not startable. I don't think in the flex every single
Potential
week. But
potentially, but not
that's
if
best case.
every week,
That's
right?
best case scenario.
That's
You
the
have to
tough
hope.
part.
Yeah,
If you're dependent on him to start every week, that's where you find yourself in trouble. If you're
yeah.
depending on him.
I like Elijah Moore. I like the move that that he's got going on, going over to the
Kadarius
Browns.
Tony I like too.
I like Tony too. They've got pretty much nobody there, and they haven't signed anybody. I don't know if they'll bring anybody in. Um, but yeah, Nico Collins. I mean, he's another decent possible, flex option. It's just with the start eight, we need hammers. You know, like the last team we just did, we need to try and
Son
get some
God.
hammers. Now you got Brees, you got JT, which is awesome. You got DK, you got CD. I guess those would be the studs, those core guys that you have. So I'm not looking to give up Brees or JT. Not trying to give up DK or CD. I feel like DK would be the perfect like flex. But I would love to get another top wide receiver. But then again, we're okay with QB for probably next year and the year after. You can still, he's got Russell, he's got Gino. Lamar, I
Trey
think will be
Lance.
fine. That will figure itself out. Trey
Trey
Lance,
Lance is a big wild card.
yeah, he's a wild card. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen there. But all right, what some of the team needs, Hammer? What do we got to do here? What are we looking at?
Oh, you got to upgrade your wide receiver core, and it's just that simple.
QB upgrade. Yeah, QB upgrade. I would agree as well. I have 6 picks in the draft as of now. I'm looking to start Bateman or Moore in the flex. Okay, I like Moore. I like Moore there. I'm negotiating with the Tyreek owner, but he wants a lot. Yeah, the Tyreek owner is gonna want a lot. Can you go after like Waddle instead? Is that gonna be cheaper? I mean,
That's
he should be
probably
more
going to be
expensive.
more
He
expensive.
should be
Yeah.
more expensive, but if the guy that has Cheetah wants an arm and a leg, I don't know how everyone else thinks in your league. So, or he's the second guy to Cheetah. He's the second wide receiver. I don't know. Pull off some BS. Uh, right. Yeah. What are we looking to get, Hammer? What do you see? He isn't
So
available. Okay, yeah, I
so,
figured
there,
that.
so so there's a couple of value type guys that I think we could look at for this team that would fill in nicely. Maybe a Michael Pittman that you don't have to give up as much, considering what his draft capital is. Maybe look at a Jerry Judy type to go buy, when the
I
perceived
like
value might be a little
Jerry
bit
Judy.
lower. So maybe a Jerry Judy or a Michael Pittman to pick up. That'll give you some stability at that wide receiver 3/flex play. So I kind of like an upgrade there. If you just want to solidify without giving up too much, because realistically, can he go out and get one of those top five guys without giving up DK or JT or Brees Hall?
Yeah,
And considering the draft capital is really
understand.
mid to back end one, like that's not super valuable in a one quarterback. I mean, it is a super flex, so maybe
Yeah,
a little bit more valuable. So that 109 might be a little more valuable. So maybe you can leverage the 109 and DK maybe to go and get Amon Ra. I don't know. Maybe take a shot. I don't know.
mhm,
Is that just
yeah.
a lateral move?
I mean, it's a better. I mean, you'll have a better starter, but I don't know if that makes the huge difference. But yeah, if we were gonna move DK, we're gonna tear up from DK. But all right, what can we do? I think I want. I love Pitts. I love that you have Pitts, and I love that you got Jake Ferguson too. I don't know if they go out and get anybody else, but um, I like what you got going on there. What about QB? Do we go after QB? Are there any wide receivers or are there players that are available? Is there, like the Devonta Smiths, the T Higgins, or any of those guys possibly available? You said Waddle isn't available. I'm gonna guess maybe Olave is probably not available either, or Garrett Wilson, or any of those guys.
Drake London. I know that's your guy.
Drake London available? I know he's a younger guy. He might not help you out as you want him to right this second, but I could get cut potentially. Um, yeah, I mean he's a little bit of an older receiver, but I don't mind that
I
in this
definitely think that's an
particular.
upgrade.
I don't.
Definitely think
Yeah,
that's an
I
upgrade.
don't think that's a particular bad thing because you do have at least still your core guys, DK and CD. Like, what can you get Cup for is the real question. Like,
Yeah,
what
I
can
would
you get
agree.
him for? Lave off the table. London is currently inactive. Okay, I hate inactive owner. Okay. So yeah, what do you think it's gonna cost you to go and get like Cooper Cup? I'm not really willing to give up like DK and something else to go get Cooper Cup. Like I don't know
No,
what
I would
you
agree
think
with
you're
that.
gonna give up for Cooper Cup. It is a super flex. I mean, you do have Geno, you do have Baker. Like, can you give up Geno something and then you roll with Lamar and Russell Wilson? Would likely be the 109 and Tony. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I mean,
I'm actually
part
okay
eight.
with that.
I'm fine with that. Go and get Cup.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that because
I
also
would I
too
would say yeah, I would say go and get Cup. You know,
because that solidifies your wide receiver three flex. Like you have
because
three
yeah,
wide
don't forget
every
there's
week
only
wide
three.
receivers.
Yeah, there's only three that you can start, but that's perfect. Like I said, because now DK falls into the flex, and now you got Cup, you got CD, you got DK. You're not really giving up a young elite like piece or core of your team. You still got your core intact. You still got Brees, JT, DK, CD,
So you're
Lamar.
basically adding. Yeah, you're adding.
So you stack up at the wide receiver. Now you're rolling. Now you're winning those positions. You're winning running back. You're winning wide receiver. Brees Hall, obviously, we don't know if he's going to be back to his former self.
But I still like
The
Gibby
seconds,
even in
yeah,
the interim
I
until
like
Brees Hall
Gibby.
comes back.
Yeah, I like Gibby too. You still got you'll still have a bunch of seconds, and you'll still have the 111. Can you give
And
up, you know, the 111 and the 202 and move up to the I don't know 106, 107? Like, is that a possibility as well?
also too, maybe see instead of giving up the 109, maybe give up the 111, the 202, and Tony. Keep that 109 in your back pocket if you can.
If you could.
So you
God, he might not be available. He had D Hop and Cup, but already moved D Hop. He doesn't have a good roster, but wants to win now. See, I mean, if he doesn't have a good roster, you could. argue to give up, a few of those picks. I mean, you got a bunch of
Yeah,
seconds, still got 2 firsts for next year. So
I would even see if you could give up the first for next year, the 2024 first, because realistically, this team will probably should make a playoff push. You would think. So even if that turns out to be a 109 or 108 or 110 somewhere in there, 8, 9, 10, that's worth it to me.
can you give up the 109 and the 203 and go get Cooper Cup? Do you have to throw a
And
207
Tony,
or the 211 in there too, and the Tony, yeah, whatever. You got what was it? Tony and the 109. He said Tony and the
mm-hmm.
109. So can you give up Tony the 109? And if you got to throw a second in there, fuck it, throw a second in there. Get yourself Cooper Cup. Now, is it possible to upgrade QB as well? Can we trade Russell Wilson and the 111 and cheer up to you know somebody else, Deshaun Watson?
Kyler
Come on,
Murray.
how much higher? Kyler Murray, I love. Um, he's just cheaper right now. So can you go get Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson? Um, then you're really rolling, right? Because then you still
Would
got Geno
you
Smith as a QB3, and he can at least fill in until Kyler gets back. And you
are
still got
you
Lance if he turns out into something. So
are you taking any chances on Tua as
yeah,
a buy
I would
low
take a chance.
guy?
Yeah, I would take a chance on Tua too. Throw Tua in there too. They picked up the option. They
Right, right,
they're showing that they want him at least, or at least they're not dumb because if he does do good, they don't want to have to franchise him. It's probably cheaper. I think it's
right.
cheaper to pick up the option anyway. But he's gonna get the long term contract as long as he's healthy. I mean, how could he not? He played great. I mean,
And he's got great pieces around him.
he's got great pieces around him. So yeah, Tua's another guy that I would be okay to go out there and get. Now, like realistically, you can probably survive, the next season or two going with Lamar and Russell Wilson and Geno.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we want more of the
Upside.
upside, number one, exactly, especially in a start eight. Like if you've got two, like we keep mentioning, two top 10, two top 12 QBs. I mean, it's going to give you a major advantage. So that's another move you can make. So if you can go get Cup and then go get a Murray or Watson, are those guys available? Do you think you can acquire those guys, or are there any other guys that you can possibly acquire? I know Herbert didn't do that great last year. Some people are willing to come off of him. So is that a possibility? I would say those would be the two moves to make with the picks because in the start eights, like even though it's super flex, like still like the late round picks in those seconds, like they don't mean much. Those guys might not ever see your lineup because you only have to start, three wide receivers or and two running backs. So I would definitely try and move, all those picks really if you could. Can you combine a couple together and get into the first? Can you combine a couple together and get a 24 first? I mean, you got plenty of options. You got plenty of things you can do. The team is not even bad as it stands right here, like I said, but you do have that little bit of uncertainty at the QB position, like Hammer said
And
earlier.
the wide receivers need to be
And
upgraded
I'd
for
like,
sure.
yeah, so I just like to, if you can make that move for Cup and then shore up the QB room, I mean, you're in the right direction. And I don't love going after all the wide receivers, but it fits your timeline, number one, and it fits your team because you're not relying on him as a guy you have to build around. So, I really like that. You can do that. I want the Kyler Watson. People aren't willing to sell low in my league. Okay, well, again, it is a start eight, so the value is a little bit different. You might have to give up a little bit more than what you think or what you would expect. So, what is it that they're asking for? To get Kyler or to get Watson. We got a plethora, a bunch of picks here. We've got some decent wide receivers with upside, the Batemans, the Tonys, the Elijah Moores, Michael Thomas, if somebody likes him too. What do you guys think about the Superflex QB situation? The Purdy owner wants a first for him.
I think he meant the San Fran.
I mean, San Fran, my bad. My San Fran QB position. Well, I think we talked about this a lot, really. I mean, I was always a Trey Lance guy, and I continue to say it. They spent the money on him. And now, Purdy did great, but
He
under
had the
pressure of running
surgery,
back.
and he had the surgery.
He did have the surgery. We don't know when he's going to be able to come back. So if Trey Lance does get the job, then it's Trey Lance. Now, do you want to play it safe and give up the first? I mean, what first? Do you give up? I give up the 109 or the 111 and just feel comfortable that okay, I know at least one of them is going to be the starter. But that would be like my last option, really. Like I would exhaust trying to get a QB from somebody else first before I did that.
Maybe Jared Goff. That's a guy I bring up a lot too. That might not be a
Yeah,
Kirk
is
Cousins.
Jared Goff available? He's going to be even cheaper.
Kirk
He wants
Cousins,
a
maybe.
24. He wants a 24 first and Khalil Herbert. Not sure I want to spend that on a guy that won't start. Yeah, but if he
No,
does start, then he's going to be valuable. If he
yeah,
does
but
become the starter, he's going to be valuable to get in return. And the way that
the
you're,
reason so the reason why I wouldn't do that is because you already have starters at the QB position. You don't need like Russell Wilson, Geno Smith. Those guys are unquestioned starters on their team. I'm not giving up valuable assets, especially first round picks in a super flex league for something that I really don't need per se. I'm not doing that. I'm
yeah,
only
is it
giving that.
likely projected late 24 first?
Nah, I'm not giving that up.
No.
I can start Geno. I can start Russell Wilson.
Well,
I'm not
yeah, I
giving
mean
that up for
that's what I'm
Purdy
saying. Like you're better giving up Russell Wilson and that 24 first or that 23 first and tearing
and
up,
go get. Yeah,
or
I
giving up
agree.
two first. I'd rather give up Russell and two first and go and get an established QB
Get
rather than going to get Purdy. Like it's just
yeah, yeah.
not worth
Those
it,
are
especially at
better.
this point, right?
No, those are better assets used somewhere else instead of getting a guy that you don't even know if he's going to be the starter or not.
Yeah.
So no,
Because you got
don't make
Russell,
that trade.
Russell's under contract, so you
Right.
have him for a little bit. Gino, I mean, he did get the contract, but they could dump his ass in 1 year. I mean, the way they loaded these things. I looked, he was averaging Purdy was only averaging 17 per game. I don't think that's better than what
No, you're fine.
no, like that would be a desperate one. Like you don't like that would like I said, that's like last case
Yeah,
scenario
and I
if
wouldn't
like
even do
Russell
that.
is dirt and Gino is dirt, and it's like then you're only stuck with Lamar and Lance. So that's like the last option. Jay, what up, Jay?
Jay, what up,
Thanks,
man?
thanks for tuning in, brother. But yeah, that would be like the last option. I'd rather, like I said, give up, my QBs and add the picks on top of it to go cheer up at QB than I would just going out getting them.
Or, I mean, listen, also too, remember this with Sean Payton coming in, see what you could get for Russell Wilson in the 2 first round picks. I kind of agree with that. And see what you could get, like shop that around and see if you can get, you might not get Trevor Lawrence, but you might be able to get, like you said, Kyler. Well, he said Kyler and Deshaun are off the table, right?
Yeah, yeah, and again, like these late round picks in a start 8, they're not that valuable. The value is much lower than it would be in a start 9, start 10 league. Like those picks are not really going to see your lineup. I mean, we're talking about right now. You're about to have, Cup, DK, and CD. I mean, there's no guys in this draft that you're going to get at the end of the draft, in the end of the first round of this draft that you're going to be able to
Mm-hmm.
plug in there.
Yeah, I think some good candidates, especially at the quarterback position. Like I said, Jared Goff might be available. I think that's a bit of an upgrade. Also, too, I mean, listen, you could go in. Hopefully, listen, if Russell goes in and has 2 or 3 really good weeks to start, then his value is a little bit higher. Then maybe you can move off of Russell at that point if you really want to. So it's
I would try and get the QB like I said, and then say that doesn't happen. Say that doesn't work. You can't get a QB. Okay, can you move up with some of the picks that you have to draft one of these young rookie QBs? Is that a possibility as well? So depending on what you can do, there's different routes that you can take here. They said love these roster reviews. Yeah, man. Thanks. Everybody wants some advice what they could do. And again, we're not geniuses. Every league is a little bit different. Some of the things you might not be able to do. Some of the things you might. But that's why we kind of do it live so we can get your input and let us know. Um, but yeah, I mean, we love doing them too. We
oh
treat them like
hell
it was
yeah.
we treat them like it was our team. What would we do? How can we make this team better? I'll try and see
100%.
what I can get. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to either, trading a bunch of those picks also and moving up to the 102, 103 and grabbing one of those top QBs as well. Ton of trade bait for a QB. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, in this particular start eight, like I'm not giving up Brees or JT. Like I'm keeping those guys. Got DK and CD because you're not in bad position as you are, like we said. But you just want to fine tune it. You want to extend that window. You want to feel comfortable and confident. More confident going in, and yeah, you got a bunch of things you can do here, man. I like it. And then you've got a bunch of those bunch of seconds. If you do have to make those picks, really just stack up on running back at that point. I don't think any of the wide receivers are really going to be worth it in this format. So, or again, can you combine some of those seconds and get a 24 first? Can you combine some of those seconds and get, another back end first? Can you combine some of those back end first and move up to the middle of the first? Like, it's just a constant, constant thing. You got to keep trying to make it move. And I'm kind of hold on to Mike White as insurance for Tua. That's another great point that if you do get, if you are able to get Tua, then you got his back up there too. So, yeah, absolutely. But I like it. Yeah, I like it. If you can get Cup or if you can get another wide receiver and if you can get another QB, or at least a top 10 QB, that would be ideal. But yeah, let us know what happens. Let us know how it goes. Keep us tuned in. Keep us tuned in. You got anything else, Hammer, on this? Or anybody else out there? Throw your comments out there.
Nah, I definitely would go out and try and get that cup deal done as soon as possible. Like you said, even if you have to throw in an extra second, or maybe throw in the 111, the 202, if the 109 is not getting it done, and Tony. So really try and go out there and get Cup, solidify that position, and then go after the quarterback.
Yeah, Jason is doing a great job holding on to the Bakers and Trask for potential seconds. Yeah, I mean those are guys again. You can get draft capital. I mean, he's got a bunch of seconds already. And then again, like just with the format, like they're not as valuable. But what do the other players in the league think? What do the other
Mm-hmm.
GMs in the league feel like? Are those seconds valuable to them? Because that's where you can take advantage. Because you got a bunch, like so, like I said, you got a bunch of things you can do.
Yeah, I
Or
definitely think you could
with
package
JT,
the
what happened?
111, the 20. I think you could definitely try and package the 111, the 202, the 203, maybe even move up, maybe get the 108, 107,
Yeah,
something like that.
that's possible. I would put JT on the block. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with fielding offers and seeing what you can get. Can you tear down a tiny bit and or pick up an awesome wide receiver? I mean, maybe, and then you just roll with Brees and Gibby and the bunch of seconds, the bunch of RBs that you draft. I mean, you could do it that way too. But I think I'd just rather want him in this particular format. But I'm okay with at least fielding offers, see what's out there.
Hell yeah.
Stafford and a third for Tony sitting in my pending trades. I don't like it. Yeah, no, no. You're in the
Mm,
same situation. You've already got Russell and Geno Smith. It's the same thing, like almost.
yeah, that's a lateral move.
It's just, yeah, that's not worth it to give up that. Because I'm not more confident in Stafford than I am with Russell Wilson or Geno. Like Russell
I would
Wilson is the
agree.
most insurance that you have out of any of those guys. Um,
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, Stafford would just be that would just be adding another QB really for
An old
no
guy who's
no reason.
injured,
Yeah,
uncertain.
yeah, they were talking about trading him. He didn't do great last year. So yeah, that I wouldn't do that. Just decline that shit. You don't need that. You don't need
Yeah,
that.
try and go out there and get
What's
Cup.
his other? If he's trying to trade Stafford, that probably means he's got pretty good QBs. What's his other QBs that he has? Can you trade Tony and some of the first for the other QBs that he has? Let him stay with Stafford.
Maybe
There's no
throw
reason
Russell
for you
Wilson
to
in there
take.
if you
Yeah,
if you have to offset that.
yeah, if you got to throw Russell Wilson, I mean, yeah, whatever. I mean, whatever you got to do, but at least if he's looking to trade a QB, that means he's probably got some good QBs already. At least something to flip for wide receiver help. He's bleeding in that area. Yeah, but there's only you're right, Jay. He is,
Only
but he's got
start.
DK and CD, and he's only got to start three because there's only two wide receivers and there's only one flex. So you know, we had mentioned before. I don't know if you missed it that we do want to get another stud wide receiver because if you can have DK in the flex, that would be ideal. That would be ideal. You got Moore and you got Tony. Can especially in these start eights, like just combine the assets that you have to get studs. Like that's what you need to do. So you got Moore and you got Tony. Can we give up more Tony and a first and get us some kind of stud wide receiver? So you got some options, bro.
Yeah, I think Pittman is a good target. I think Jerry Judy. I know he said Judy's probably not available, right? But Michael Pittman would be a solid mid-tier target if you get
I don't love
if you're
Michael
giving
Pittman.
up.
I think I just want to get. Especially in this format, like I just want to get more. Like I don't want another. I don't know. I don't want
Okay,
a worse
guy.
DK or okay guy. Like just want to go get the hammer. Like because I feel like Elijah Moore or Kadarius Tony like won't be like if they're healthy, of course, like they won't be like crazy far off from Pittman. I'm
Right.
not a Pittman lover. I mean, I like him, but he's what? I mean, top 20 guy, like he's in that kind of range, like 20ish around there. I
At
mean,
best, and we don't know what their quarterback
at best,
situation is
yeah.
going to
And
be.
so, I would rather go after somebody else. I like to have him as one of my bench guys, maybe, but yeah, I want to get one of the studs. I'm a depth guy, bro. I got to show you my updated squad after getting Najee, JJ Lamar, and Josh Allen in the offseason. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, let me know. And listen, I love depth as well. But again, it just differs in the format that you're in. This is just it's a start eight, like so. You don't have to start guys that you normally would in a start 10 or a start 9. Like it's just there's less guys that you need to start. So that means that these, wide receiver threes just they don't matter. Even the wide receivers two, like there's wide receiver twos, like there's so many of them, like they're not as valuable. So yeah, that's the only reason why I don't really mind giving up the depth in this particular format. Other formats, absolutely, I wouldn't be doing that. But in these formats, just combine the assets, get the studs, because that's what you need to fucking roll over people.
And build like the previous roster did.
Yeah, yeah. Devontae Adams is available because the owner doesn't like Jimmy G. Yeah, I mean, listen,
I
that's a
actually don't
one
mind that.
year.
I don't mind that.
It's probably like a 1 year, maybe 2 year rental. So just be aware of that. There is some risk in Devontae Adams. Oh, my bad, White Shooter. I missed the question here. Who would you most look to move on from between JT, Dalvin, Kamara, Sanders, Connor, Brian Robinson? Based on current value, where you expect them to be in terms of value in the future. Dalvin's worth jack shit. Kamara's worth jack shit. Connor's pretty much worth jack shit. My bad. Sanders got the contract, so people do like him. I love the idea of moving Sanders. He's at kind of that highest value point. You know, if things don't work out, his value is tremendously going to dip. So if you want to take advantage of that, do that. JT, I'd like to hold on to, but he is very valuable. I'm okay with moving him if you need to. But if you're moving JT, you need like a top 5, top 10 wide receiver or QB or something in return. Brian Robinson is an RB2. I don't really care much for RB2s because they're just replaceable. You can find cheaper ones out there. But I don't mind Brian Robinson. I like him based on current value. Yeah.
Would you, in this situation, would you rather
Dalvin's
have the
done and Kamara's done. Like they're done. They're done. They're worth nothing. My bad, Hammer. What'd you say?
in this situation? Would you rather make the trade for Devontae or make the trade for Cup? Like if both offers were on the table and you had to pick.
I think I'd want Cup based on the age. I mean, the QB situation is still, I don't know. Hopefully Stafford is just there and they got another 2, 3 years possibly, but yeah, Cup is just a beast. I mean, Devontae's a beast too, but
I think even
I'm
with
more
Jimmy
comfortable with
Garoppolo being
Stafford.
there,
You can make the
I
argument. I
think
mean,
Devontae will be okay. I totally forgot that Devontae was. I mean that Jimmy Garoppolo went there, which kind of stabilizes uh Devontae's production. I don't think he's going
yeah,
to be that guy
I
we
like
saw
I
last year
like
or in Green Bay, but I think Devontae's still going to be damn productive. He'll be a top. He's still a wide receiver one to me. I think he's in that bottom
that.
area somewhere.
Yeah, I think you can still count on that. Yeah, I don't know. Go with either or, I guess. Go with either or. I guess Cup is just a little bit younger, so his value is going to be perceived higher.
He is coming off
Also a
the injury
guy,
though.
who would be worth? What would you realistically get for him? Get for who? Like Dalvin or Kamara or Sanders? You're talking about? Well, I wouldn't want to. It depends what your roster construction is. I don't know, exactly what you need, but I would want to go after one of my needs. That's what I love doing with running backs is once they're at their highest value to get rid of them for a position that you really need, and to have that new position for a long period of time.
Hmm.
So if you can get a core, like I want to get one of my core assets that I'm going to build around for giving up or trying to at least. Um, But yeah, I mean, he said you're right. I'm at the point where I got to ride it out with Kamara. Yeah, because you absolutely have to ride it
Hmm.
out with Kamara because you're not getting anything, especially with the deep RB class. Maybe could squeeze something out of Dalvin. Yeah, your best bet is to hold on to him. Hopefully they play and then get rid of him at that point. As of now, I was looking at probably moving Sanders and B Rob. Yeah, I would move Sanders and B Rob absolutely. Pair up your wide receiver core if you can, while you can, and then kind of take it from there. Superflex, Dalvin or Brian Robinson. I want Brian. I'll take Brian Robinson. I don't
Oh
know what's
yeah,
gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen with Dalvin. There's no reason
I
to
do
risk
like B
that.
Rob,
Yeah, there's no reason to risk Dalvin. I'll just take the pretty much guaranteed
and they love
RB
B Rob.
RB2
Yeah,
production. He's a mid to late RB2. He's got a little bit of upside depending on how the offense looks, and the touchdowns that he scores. So yeah, I'll take Brian Robinson over Dalvin Cook right now. 11 end of 2024 first for Devontae. It's going to be a late first, so going to be too late first and a start 8. I don't. I guess I'd do it
yeah, I don't have no
because it's
problem with
just
that
not as
either.
valuable as it normally would be. So I just you got to think about it a little bit, but you know you got two firsts for next year, so you're not totally out on your first, and then you're gonna have
Hmm.
you're giving up the 111 at least, so you still got the 109. So yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. You take Devontae, you go for the juggler, you go for the win. Now try and shore up the QB position on top of that, and I think then you're in good position.
Now you're building.
You
That's what you
know,
want to do.
and
I know
then yeah,
Cooper Cup isn't necessarily a building guy. He's more of a stopgap, but
no,
considering what you have,
or Devontae probably.
or
Yep.
Devontae,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
either one really.
Yeah, because considering what he has, he's not building around them. Though you're just going for the win now, and now you're going for you're going
Hmm.
for the all out. So. And then I would look to maybe move the other first and some of those seconds, like we said, to try and get that better QB. And then you're rolling. If you can't get the better QB, I don't know. You take some of those seconds. Can you get back into the first round, draft a running back at that point? See what's out there. I think Dalvin's still got some tread left. I feel like Commanders will look for running back help that will take away from Robinson. Absolutely. The problem, and I'm a Viking fan. Yeah, I love me some Dalvin. He definitely has some
Hmm.
tread left. The problem is the NFL doesn't give a shit how much tread you think
Nope.
you have left or that we think they have left. I'm sure Dalvin could be still a top 12 running back for another 2 seasons, probably. But number one, they've kind of got to pay him to do that. And number two, just the chances are just not as great. Like he's not going to be the three down back anywhere. Um, and I think that, with Robinson and Gibby there, that's going to be a nice split. I think the new coach or what's his name, Bieniemy. I think he likes Gibby. They wound up getting rid of McKissick, so you just got those two guys
Hmm.
in there. They probably bring somebody else in, but I think it's Robinson's first and second down role and Gibby's third down and passing situations role. I think
And
that's
Robinson's going to get the
how
goal
you can
line
sum it up.
carries, which
And
is
of course,
awesome.
yeah, and of course they could draft somebody else, but I'd rather take the chance on Robinson and them not drafting anybody else for at least this year than I do with betting on Dalvin Cook uh, into his right. I mean, he wants Herbert two in the trade, so he wants you to give up Herbert the two first. I mean,
And Tony,
what was Herbert the two? What was it? Herbert and the two first, 111, 24 first, and Herbert. No, I don't think Tony. This is a different
oh,
one.
so 111 and a
Uh,
24 first for Devontae.
and Herbert he wants running back Khalil Herbert.
Maybe.
We got enough seconds to replace Herbert, so
And you still had Gibby. So,
you'd be okay with it. We're just gonna have to still get more running backs. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you've got plenty of the seconds, so or if we can use
you
those
said
to
one.
move up. I'm
Damn, so
okay with it as long as you can still upgrade the QB position. Like before I make that trade, I think I want to maybe try and see what you can get for the QBs because if you got to give up one of the first, no, I think I'd rather spend it on the QB. Or would you rather spend it on Devontae?
depends on who the QB is. You have to
That's true.
evaluate
Oh,
who
he
that
said,
QB is.
I like that. No dice. He said 111, 24 first, and Herbert or no dice.
Yeah, I mean, you could go out and see, like Blanc said, see who that quarterback is. Because if you're giving up the 111, a 24 first, and Herbert or Tony or something else for a quarterback, then that might be worth it more in the long run, obviously.
Yeah,
But
I'd rather spend it on the QB. So before I go and make that, I think I want to check out the QB market first and see what is possibly available. If you've already done that and you can't get a QB, trying to think, would you rather spend it on Devontae or would you rather use the picks on, moving up to the 102, 103 and get one of the rookies, QBs?
it's quite a
Well,
predicament.
no, I mean, if you're going, the thing is, if you're going for, if you are going to do it for Devontae, then you're going all out. you know, going all out. You got the two young RBs. You got guys. I mean, fuck it. This is what it's going to take for you to win. What's the other teams in your league look like? Like, if you go and get Devontae, like, is this going to put you in like position to win? It should, but I think you'll be all right if you do it. I mean, I don't necessarily love it, but I just rather get younger guy if you could. I'd rather get a little bit lower than Devontae or younger if possible if I'm giving that up. Again, it's not that bad because it is the late first, but will shine with Carr at Q. Kamara will shine with Carr at QB. He's great at check down passes. Yeah, but is Kamara going to play? You got Jamal Williams. I don't know if they're bringing a running back. Like Kamara's time is just it's at that point where now it's risky. You're just risking it. I mean, what's the chances that Kamara's a top 10 back again and that he doesn't get suspended? I think that's kind of how I look at a lot of things at certain points. I'm just like, all right, what's the percentage? What's the chances that this is actually going to work out in the best favor? And what's the chances that it's going to be maybe decent or bad? Like, and then if it just far outweighs, I'm just like, fuck it. Why should I take the chance? Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it is very risky.
Wait, Shooter said, I think the problem is I almost have too much depth, so I need to just cash in for more elite guys. It's a one QB league. I have Josh at QB, at tight end, Cup, Garrett Wilson, T, and Debo. Um, yeah, I mean, one QB, you got Josh Allen, you got Pitts, so that's perfect. I mean, you got Cup, you got Garrett Wilson, you got T. Higgins, you got Debo, so you're in good position. I mean, I try and move Debo because I don't trust him, but yeah, and if you got depth pieces, and then is it a start 8, start 9, start 10? What's the format? So you can give you a better idea of what's the best route to go. But yeah, I just don't want to take the chance on Kamara. I mean, he's not going to like round like 13 in like dynasty startups right now. Like people just don't want him.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean,
At that
Kamara
price,
was.
I prefer Cup because I think I could get him a bit cheaper. The package would go to a bottom 3 team. The Devontae owners stacked with Allen, Mahomes, Barkley, Walker, Waddle, Debo. I would rather Cup too. That's what I'm saying. I think I would rather Cup than Devontae just based on like the age. And if you can get him for cheaper, then of course that just makes it even better to go after Cup. Especially since that owner's team, I think you said his team's garbage, so he can use the picks. You can probably bait him into taking picks or even seconds or one first and a bunch of seconds. Then so you got a little bit of advantage there. Big contender has Burrow, Jefferson, Diggs, Henry, Aaron Jones. Yeah, those running backs are gonna go soon. Andrews, Pittman, Watson, he's got Javante. Okay. Yeah, I think we definitely need that one more wide receiver, and then if you can sure up that QB, like I said, you got plenty of options. So let us know what you can do. I mean, all those picks are assets because you're not a team that's like rebuilding right now. So trade these damn picks and get
Yeah,
guys that are going to help. We need
stack
studs,
up.
so you got to
Yeah,
give up. You give up whatever you need to give up. And again, I
especially all those seconds.
like to
Yeah,
get younger guys, but if you got to get the older guys, just is what it is. But I got to shore up the QB position. I think I really I just keep thinking about the QB position, and like I said, you could be fine for this year or next year with Russell Wilson, but I don't want to be fine. I want to know that I'm gonna fucking dominate. So yeah, overall, I mean, you got a good squad. You've got things that you can move around, and you've got plenty of assets. So you did a good job of getting a bunch of assets and currency so that you can move the team
movable
in the
assets. Yeah.
direction. Yeah, you can move the team in the direction that you want to go. So I like that. But yeah, you got anything else to throw in there, Hammer?
Nah, just lock in on those needs. I do like the cup deal because I think it helps you now and it helps you even a year or two down the road. You might have to die with cup on your team, but I think
That's fine.
it gets you kind of moving in a direction that you need, especially with this particular and only start 8. Like,
Yeah,
go get the guy.
with this team makeup, I'm fine dying with Cooper Cup if I have to. You're absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine because you won't need much either. This year or next year after you do. After you get that.
And then target that quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. So let us know. Let us know how it goes, man. Let us know. But yeah, anything else? You guys got any other questions? Dynasty trades? Any advice you need? Outlooks on anything? Let us know before we dip up out of here. I think we touched up on at least the most recent shit
Yeah, it
earlier in the stream,
wasn't a
but
crazy week news wise. I don't think we're gonna get that Aaron Rodgers news anytime soon, to be honest with you.
yeah. Well, we didn't talk about Aaron Rodgers. What the fuck is? Speaking of, all right, Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson need to fucking stop. Both of them, they need to stop.
I mean,
Lamar,
I think
just take the fucking money. Like I understand, I know what Lamar has done, and I know he hasn't really been compensated for what he's done. But we want to pay you for what the fuck you're gonna do going forward. Okay, I know this is a business, so it sucks, but that's just the way that it fucking is. Okay, take the money that's offering to you because you have played 12 games in each of the past two fucking seasons. You have not been healthy. Nobody wants to give you $220 million guaranteed when you've been injured all the damn time. Like enough. Aaron Rodgers, Jesus, go back to the fucking Hayuska. Go back to the dark cave. I mean, what the fuck is happening here?
I can't explain it.
Is it still the Jets and the Packers? I mean, at this point, like, what the fuck? How long are we going to go through this? This is every day that goes by. You're telling me we're making no progress every single day when we know that he said, okay, I want to go to the Jets?
Well, I think it's a little more complicated than that, just in terms of not where he wants to go and where it's the compensation, bro. It's the money
I know, but how
also
long does it
too.
take to fucking figure this shit out? I mean, how long has it been now?
Got to be going on 2 weeks,
I
a
mean, what
week.
the
I think it really is the compensation. I think the Packers want that first round
I know the
pick.
Packers probably want the first, and the Jets are probably not willing to give it up. But I mean, listen, the Jets kind of do have the leverage. Aaron Rodgers don't want to fucking play on the Packers. I mean, but at the same time, he's still under contract, so I guess the Packers can be like, "Oh, we don't give a fuck."
Right, right. If we don't get what we want, you'll be on this roster. So it's. I think it will happen. I think there'll probably be some middle ground in terms of like prediction. I mean, protection, where it's like, if Rogers plays 2 years, then it goes to a first or
Yeah, or
comp.
make it incentivized where, if you win the fucking Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl or, whatever the case is, it increases its value. Like shit. Yeah, I'm getting fed up. This Lamar shit is just annoying. Fucking Aaron Rodgers shit just annoying. We don't know what's happening. You're fucking up our dynasty
You and
plans
me both.
and teams and fucking outlooks and advice. You're just fucking shit up.
I can't. I can't deal.
I'm sick of it. Fucking end already. Jesus. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sick of it too, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Um, more from like the first for a couple days. I'll probably make a few videos to throw out because I haven't been able to put some videos out that I've wanted to put out. I got to put out what are we doing with the 101 to 106? What are we doing in 1 QB? What are we doing in Superflex? What are we doing with the 107 and 112 in Superflex and 1 QB? I want to do at least a first round draft for Superflex, a first round draft for 1 QB, rookie mocks, just of me just making all the picks and how I would pick them and what we're looking at. I want to try and get those out, but yeah, stay tuned for that. Other than that, we'll be back Wednesday. We got our Dynasty mock drafts that we do every Wednesday. Hammer usually doesn't join me for that, but I'll
Oh,
be here.
once the draft happens, I'll be in the mocks.
I'll be here, and then on Thursday we've got we'll be on, of course, every Thursday night. We're on 10 p.m. always. 420 Fantasy Hustler Network will be there with our Dynasty show that we do there as well.
Yes, sir.
And that's about it. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Dynasty Life Fantasy Football. If you check in the description, all the links are there. Link to the Patreon is there as well. But yeah, we out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already, or if you're new to the channel. Appreciate you guys, all of y'all, for tuning in
Hell
with
yeah.
us as always. But we'll see y'all next week. If not, come find us Wednesday and Thursday. We out.
Bing bong.